All right, and welcome to Heavy Radio episode 16. Eric here, joined as always with Marco. How you doing today, Marco?
Heavy Radio 16. Doing
The
great.
duo back again after a couple episodes not together. The Metal Powers have reunited
Yeah, I'm
forcefully.
still running high off those last couple episodes. That was great. Pat
Definitely,
Carr and William Whitmore. I actually didn't know Patrick Carr was such a huge Sabotage fan, so that was awesome to listen to.
definitely. Lots of fun stories from William too, and really fun picks. The Budgie pick I especially appreciated. But yeah, and thank you also again to Jeremy Hall for jumping in and doing the show with us. Yeah, we have some awesome guests, and it's great to speak with them.
Yeah, as usual,
How
I definitely laughed pretty hard at some of Jeremy's wit there, as I
yeah,
usually do. So it was a good
for
time.
sure. How have you been, Marco? So we haven't caught up in a bit. How's
Doing
the
well.
spooky season treating you?
Doing well. I actually been digging into those Halford and Mustaine books that have come out, and um, I feel like just so we don't do any spoilers for people that have those
Sure.
handy,
Spoiler free.
we won't really get into them that much, but just in general, I think they were really both awesome so far, and I love that Mustaine did have the takes of those others that were close around the circle. That
Mm-hmm.
really made that book stand out to me. And Halford's, I love the dude. And it's like I didn't think I could love him more, but just the fact that he's just so seems so genuine and honest. And what I really like is, there's this dude that is still making amazing heavy metal, and then the picture he paints of growing up like in such a different time, like after the world wars and in a factory setting, is just like it's really cool to hear stories from people like him, and even more so if they went on to travel the world belting out heavy metal.
Hell, fucking yeah. Yeah, I haven't dug into Halfords. I have it. I'm waiting for a moment where I can really sit and enjoy it. And yeah, the Dave Mustaine book is funny with the different perspectives. It's almost a Chappelle show level of like, here's one person saying this is how it went, and then the next person will be like, that's not how it went, like, and add like their perspective or something they totally saw a different way. So I haven't dug into the
I
meat of
didn't
it
dig
yet.
my boot into Nick Menz's drum kit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I dig my boot into Nick Menz's drum kit.
Yeah, it's I haven't got into. They're just where I'm just barely getting into a chapter 3 when they're going about to go into the studio. So I'll keep spoiler free, but it's been cool. Other than that, um I love my Halloween as we both do, and I have my annual Halloween movie marathon that I subject anyone that's living with me to. And so next weekend is that. So in preparation, I've already purchased a lot of Halloween candy and goodies because I find towards the end of the month it's already the Christmas stuff as it moved in. So we're currently when I walked through my kitchen, I actually laughed at myself because there's just like boxes of monster cookies and like candy, and there's zombie faces and ghoulish treats looking at me, and it's like, man, this escalated quickly. So I'm getting excited.
Yeah, I've always really wanted to have like a Halloween party to rival the ones that you saw on like sitcom television in the 90s. I've always
Yeah.
wanted to do that one day. Maybe, hopefully, next year I can finally achieve
Mm-hmm.
my nightmare. I know that you
Home Improvement raised the bar high, man.
and Roseanne, yeah.
And
Um,
Roseanne, those are just
the
like,
uh,
man.
the funny thing it's also I've been watching a ton of movies too, like usual, and we talked about it, getting started early, which it's like why not? And
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, I know you guys mentioned the Fright Night and the Monster Squad a
Hmm.
couple episodes ago, and so I got a some good memories tied to those two.
Yeah, I'm having for listeners out there, we are planning still a little super secret, but we got some Halloween tricks up our sleeve. But yeah, I've been digging through movies and yeah, I've been finding some real fun ones, some real ridiculous stuff. I went through the I think it's pardon me if there's another one, but the Sleepaway Camp trilogy. I don't know if there's a fourth, but I've seen the first one, but I didn't see two or three, and that's some fun stuff in there. And just find some crazy Amazon Prime, man. So this isn't a promo. It's just man, they got some weird, some crazy stuff on there. So
Have you seen the
I'm
Danzig
excited.
movie yet?
I have not. I've heard tell of it. I have
I
not
know there's
seen it
lots
yet.
of people giving it competition for worst movie of the year or worst movie ever. So I'm really interested. It's been difficult for me to find. I think, but I'm gonna sit down and find it.
I thought of you, and speaking of Danzig, I saw Henry Rollins' movie He Never Lived. Is that the
Oh
title of it?
yes, where he's like, is
That's
he
on
a?
net.
He's like some sort of immortal vampire or something.
Yeah, that's on Netflix right now. And I came up in my like, you might like this, and I was like, I might. I remember you had seen it, but I haven't. I don't think I actually watched
I
it.
think it's worth watching for sure.
Got some Henry and Glenn two pack.
Yeah, and what and how
You have
about
to.
that? Also reminded me of we can't go more than an episode without talking about Keanu Reeves. Did you ever see that movie
True.
Johnny Mnemonic?
No, no. I know of it. Yes, I know the Johnny Mnemonic. I haven't seen it. He
Yeah.
was in a movie. Uh, he was in a messed up movie that I watched just a couple days ago. Neon Demon. I think it's got that girl from The Witch. I believe it's the same actress. But I didn't expect Keanu to be in this one, and he's definitely a creep fest. So it's weird when Keanu goes from like he can be Ted and be super lovable, and then he can be an action guy. Then he can also go full on creep fest. That's
I
the
and it's just
strength of
I guess
Keanu.
it's the weird thing of things we've talked about over the run, like Henry
The run, yeah.
Rollins interacting with William Shatner. But when you think about it, Henry Rollins was in Bad Boys 2, and he said really nice things about Will Smith. And Henry Rollins was in Johnny Mnemonic, and he said really nice things about
Yes,
Keanu. So it's like he's had a pretty epic movie career without even really being an actor, and that's pretty cool. And one thing I thought was funny was at some little convention thing, came up, and Henry Rollins was like, Keanu Reeves was really nice, but Dolph Lundgren not so much. He's like,
I like your
I'm a
Henry
nice person.
Rollins.
I'm
I
like,
like
hey
that.
Dolph, I'm Henry. We're working together, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll just go back to my trailer. It's like, man, maybe he was just really getting into the role.
Yeah, method acting. Now, the movie's called He Never Died. I apologize for mixed up the last word there. But yeah, I want to see those. I want to see the Danzig movie. I have heard sub positive reviews, but I want to see it. Um,
No,
so if I
it's
can find it, I'll tell you.
such a weird thing, reviews, and then what I actually gain enjoyment from, something like a
Hmm.
movie or an album. So I always like to dig in regardless and
That's the beauty of
give
art.
Danzig the benefit of the doubt there.
It is subjective. Should we launch into our news for the week?
Yeah, I actually just while we were sitting here getting ready to roll, I saw that Skullfist put out some new music called "Ride the Beast," and they just put it on their social media. They just got together,
Okay.
and I don't know, this is it's a great track, and it's hot off the press. So check that out, Skullfist with "Ride the Beast."
Awesome. Yep. Those guys are kick ass in the top leagues. This one I got an old school news story. Um, since Black Sabbath's Paranoid hit its 50-year anniversary, originally released on September 18th, 1970, Geezer came out and made a comment, just kind of acknowledging the the time and the time they were living. And I won't read the whole thing, but it starts out with in 1969, 1970, my musical experiences were exciting, adventurous, heady, and inspiring. Days full of risk and being vigorously alive. Black Sabbath was a hard-working road band, getting tighter with each gig. So you can check out this his write up here. And oh, sorry, my bad. It was Bill Ward. My bad. I went back and read. Reading, I had the article open. I misspoke. I realized it as I was reading it. I apologize, Bill Ward. This is Bill Ward's words.
Damn, Bill
Bill
Ward
Ward,
always
thank you.
getting left out.
Professional here. Professional. Well, that's why I'm on podcast and not
Bill
on
Ward's gonna
national
be
TV.
pissed, bro. He's gonna like stare at you
Bill
and
Ward's coming for me.
shake his
I'm
drumstick at
sorry,
you.
Bill Ward. This is Bill Ward's words
He's gonna
for the
break a
anniversary.
tom tom.
Yeah, deservedly. And so he sends out his love to Tony, Geezer, and Ozzy. So you can go check out the rest of that write up out there. But it was cool, and it's crazy to see 50 years of Black Sabbath's Paranoid. Album still just as influential, I would say, as it's ever been, and still like in the Genesis, the Old Testament of metal, if you will.
Yeah, and I think especially as a response to kind of the pop culture, like hippie flower power of the '60s, I think that really freaked a lot of people out.
Oh yeah, if you were just in San Francisco or wherever chilling, and Black Sabbath comes out on the scene, you're just like, this is a little bit of a shift. Bill Ward.
Yeah, and I think actually we both saw another bit of the same thing about Black Sabbath and Eddie Van Halen and that connection.
Yep. Yes. Yes. Had another story over here where it was during um, the 1994 sessions Sabbath was doing, and they just happened to be that Eddie Van Halen was in town in England. So they're recording the album that would become Cross Purposes. So Eddie was in town, and I guess Eddie and Tony had been buddies for years. So Eddie was like, called him up, or sorry, Tony called Eddie up at the hotel. Was like, hey man, let's hang out. Why don't you come down to the studio? So Eddie jumped in the car with Tony Iommi, and they went to the guitar shop and got an Eddie Van Halen guitar for Eddie Van Halen. And they went to the studio and were hanging out, and they just decided to just like jam out. So Eddie was jamming with Black Sabbath, and he requested to play Into the Void, because I guess Into the Void was one of Eddie's favorite Sabbath songs, which is epic on so many levels. And so they jammed out Into the Void, and then they asked Eddie to play on solo on one of the songs that would end up being called Evil Eye. And so they recorded it with Eddie, said it was amazing, and then later Tony tried to recreate it, and he laughed and said that he wasn't able to do it, so he had to make his own solo for the song. But he said that track with the original recording with Eddie is still in his vault somewhere, so maybe one day we'll all get to hear that. But just the mental picture of Eddie Van Halen and Tony Iommi just driving around England, going to a guitar store, and then just jamming out to Into the Void is
Yeah, there's
pretty fucking
so
great.
much there to dig into,
A
but
lot.
like one, the idea that you have so much faith in the company that's making your guitar that you can just pick one up at the store and play it. That's
Mm-hmm.
cool. You know, that
Of
just
Peavy's, I
a
bet.
testament to quality. And then also the fact that Iommi is not the only big name guitar player to have said something like that recently, like that they could not play an Eddie Van Halen solo or hold a candle to him. I think it was Steve Vai that said something like that recently, and and Jack White was the Saturday Night Live The Last Musical guest, and he played a song, or actually he used a guitar for his song Lazaretto, which was a Cobalt Blue guitar, an Eddie Van Halen guitar that Eddie Van Halen actually made for him. And
That's awesome. I didn't see
he
that.
said, I won't insult the man's talent by trying to play any of his music, but I am going to use this guitar. And
That's rad. I didn't. I saw he was on there. I didn't know he did that. That's cool.
yeah, I guess it was a EVH guitar, and Eddie helped him make it to his specifications. So that's pretty rad.
Can you imagine what Eddie Van Halen playing with Tony Iommi at the same time sound like?
Yeah, I don't think
We just couldn't
it
handle it. Couldn't handle it.
can't be recorded.
Oh man. Let's see here. I have another news story. Jump right into. Let's see. This one comes to us from the Wacken Metal Festival, the Wacken Open Air Festival. It has been announced that in they are investing. The festival is investing in Wacken to buy acreages of the forest to protect the forest. Working with the WWF of Germany um, for to preserve the forest and take care of it and to help global warming. They're going to work on planting trees, and I guess they're working on expanding the acreage to plant more trees and nurture it and take care of it, which is awesome on a ton of levels and environmental levels, and it's just an awesome thing. Investing in the town, the land, but also a fun part of that is that they're working on ways to very carefully and safely making that forest part of the festival. So, in theory, one day you could eat turkey legs all day with the metal straps on, just watching metal all day, and then retire to the woods to sit around a cabin fire in a tent and just smoke the peace pipe and hang out. So that sounds like drinking mead and just living the most metal life you can possibly. I don't know how it possibly gets more metal than that
Yeah,
for a festival experience. So one day I'd like us to go to that so we
yeah,
can report.
we
We'll
shall.
report back.
Yeah, and I know also a couple episodes ago, you guys had talked about a music venue here in Des Moines, Iowa, closing the Vaudeville Muse, and I had
Yeah.
actually just kind of put some thoughts down on my own social media,
Yeah.
so I'll kind of read that. Um, so I thought about it for quite a while, just because there's a lot of memories there, and um, really a lot. So yeah, just so many going back to being a young dude, and we wound up playing sold out shows there, where it's like for anyone that has not been there, it's a very it gets very crowded very fast, and it's very kind of narrow. So it's almost like there's just probably one of the hardest places to move around if you're at a show that's at capacity, and the floor is just like constant energy, and just seen so many cool things there. Recorded an album there. Watched Metal Church play there with Mike Howe, and actually at that show they had Chris Caffery from Savatage on guitar. It was right next to their amplifiers. Shared the stage with Glenn Benton from Deicide, Kurt Brecht and from DRI, Bobby Leemley and Pentagram, John and Mark Gallagher, and it was just so many cool things. Barbecued with Billy Milano. Saw Watain perform there, like doing their Black Mass thing with definitely smelly dead animals, and yeah, just really wanted to give a cheers to Amadeo Rossi and the Vaudeville Muse, and I really don't think there was any other place in driving distance of me where these things could have happened. So definitely cheers to those that put on the hard work there, and I hope to see everyone back at it when we figure out what's next.
Exactly. A lot of special memories, and that's what these local venues are all about, and that's what we got to work to preserve as best we can when we can. So yeah, I was sorry to hear about that news too, and yeah,
Yeah,
we could go
anytime
on and on
in one
about
sentence you
memories.
can
Yeah.
have an epic black metal band. You can have Billy Milano, SOD and MOD, John and Mark.
Hmm.
Um, it's just from Raven. It's like so much history there on all ends of the spectrum.
Hmm.
DRI, crossover, Glenn Benton, black metal and or death metal, and it's just like metal church. It's like yeah, it's really when you actually stop and think about it, all those different memories. It is pretty
Hmm.
zany.
And and for dudes that had played like 3 shows uh, before that, getting to play there, getting to play that venue when you don't have a ton of experience as a band, and getting the opportunity to do that was pretty crazy. So yep, yep.
I
Let's see.
also
I
had.
have. Oh yeah, go for it.
Oh, do you have more news?
Oh, I have just one more.
All right, go ahead.
All right, I got one more. Um, Scientists have found the upper limit for the speed of sound. So they are speaking in speed of sound. This is from a collaboration research collab between Queen Mary University of London, University of Cambridge, and the Institute of High Pressure Physics of Choisk. Um, this is the fastest possible speed of sound, and it's so fast that it's it's around twice as fast as the speed of sound in diamond, the hardest known material in the world. So this sound is so fast and also hard. So this is the hardest, fastest sound was discovered. So that's pretty metal. So thank you to scientists of our prestigious universities worldwide going out and doing the devil's work and finding the fastest, hardest sound possible.
Horde. Yeah, hell yeah. On this date, October 11th, in 1986, Iron Maiden released the Somewhere in Time album. October 11th, 1986, coming out with Somewhere
That's a pretty
in
good one.
Time.
Pretty good one.
Yeah.
Well, is it time to pay those sponsors, my friend?
Yeah, I think it is. I did have just some bits on that album that I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
was the
Oh, I can
first.
talk about
It
Maiden.
was their first album to feature guitar synthesizers, and basically, just they got really kind of did some experimenting, and
Hmm.
um, they had that tour in 84, 85 World Slavery Tour, which was 331 days and 187 concerts.
Goddamn.
And um, yeah, Bruce Dickinson, like just the fact that he sang the way he did, and likewise Nico
Hmm.
and Steve, and played the way they do on that many dates. It's crazy. And um, so Bruce Dickinson was really kind of burned out, and Steve Harris. This album is notable because it has the most fully formed songs written by Adrian Smith um, out of the Iron Maiden albums. And Smith did "Wasted Years" and "Stranger in a Strange Land," brought those to the table.
Yeah, Wasted Years is one of my faves.
Yeah, so it's. I also thought that album cover is really cool. It's like this really blending of
Hmm.
Iron Maiden and science fiction, and same with the song
Yeah,
lyrics, and um, lots of
the T-shirts and
lots of.
the promos
We
around
talked
those are
about
rad.
it with Lauren Gornick, but that actually is one of the albums I think that
Hmm.
successfully did the fitting of a lot of things into the album cover. And I think partially because Iron
Yeah.
Maiden was such a huge band that there's this loyal following of people that actually care about all those different references that are in that cover. Um, so that definitely helps. If you're just like some dudes
Easter
putting out
eggs.
your first album, no one's probably going to dig into your little
Mhm.
references. But if you are Iron Maiden at this time, coming off the World Slavery tour, it's probably going to be pretty cool.
It's true. You got to earn those Easter eggs. You don't want to end up like
You
Eddie.
don't want to end up like Eddie.
That's for damn sure. Um, so this news story, this promo came to us. Um, I believe usually there's a written so that like for podcasting or radio, but this one appears to have been sent in as a script for the commercial, like a TV commercial. So it's in the first person. I didn't have time to edit this, so I'm just gonna have to read it and go as we go. This one is for Bobby Iommi's Dangly Cross Emporium. Um, Hey, I'm Bobby Iommi, brother of Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi. If you know my brother, you know he loves dangly crosses. So one day I says to Tony, I say, hey man, people would buy these dangly crosses. So I took upon myself to buy them in bulk and pass the savings on to you. So dangle on by. We got we got big crosses, little crosses, sparkly crosses, slippery crosses, crosses made of metal, crosses made of jewels, crosses shaped earrings, cross shaped zippers, fancy crosses, plain crosses, not too not too showy, not too showy crosses, crosses for stage, crosses for playtime. We got crosses for date night, and if you even want, I'll install crosses to your biker jacket right here. So listen to Bobby Iommi and get over here to Bobby Iommi's Dangly Cross Emporium.
We got crosses you can't carry because they're heavier than hell. That's I mean
I don't know where
that's the
that.
one stop shop.
I feel like I did that. Did I read that in an accent? It felt like I
Just
did.
I mean a little bit dangly ones.
It felt like something came over me.
Yeah, I think the
But that's how we pay the bills. You got to read it like you write, like you have it on the
I
page.
mean yeah, you got to.
You got to go. Show must go on.
Yeah, the it's I think that's a essential part of the Tony Iommi sound, really.
Yeah, if you don't have a minimum of like 50 to 100 crosses on your dangling from your biker jacket, how do you even know?
I actually
You got to recast the spotlights into your eyes and break
I
70s
do
cameras
recall
so that they're
people
fully
kind of
lit.
asking them like if you're not like super into organized religion, like why do you have like all these crosses and stuff? And they were like, well, when we first toured around the world, there would be like actual witches that were like, or just young people that were zany, that were like sacrificing animals and doing witchy things and showing up and casting spells and whatever, and that was just their way to be like, yo, we're kind of warding off any potential evil
Mm-hmm.
vibes that are coming our way because we named ourselves after a horror movie.
Yep, that's fair. And plus, if you ever listen to Ozzy's lyrics, it's like they're just always saying like, "Hey, man, there's good and bad out there." Same with Dio years, so they're not pushing anything. But it is a style choice that must be committed to. And I myself have one dangly earring on right now. I'm nowhere near the an Iommi level of cross hanging dangly crosses, but maybe one day.
Yeah,
You got to
for
invest.
the playlist, Hemi Radio playlist this week, I like broke the rules in a really weird way. Like I was just like listening to my tracks, and then I just kept discovering these brand new songs. Like that's one, I suppose, one of the good things about this this global event that we're living in is that it seems like there's lots of new music and lots of stuff to dig into. So I actually have
Hell yeah.
I have mostly new songs, mostly brand new, but it's not a totally oops all new songs because I did keep one of my older tracks. So just to give you a little heads up, so you're
Don't
not
call the captain.
not freaked out here when I start churning out all new tracks after the first pick.
I'll contain. I'll
Contain
maintain.
your
I'll contain and maintain.
contain your anger and rage about all new tracks except for one.
Listen, if I gotta worry about Bill Ward over here, I don't have time to worry about anything
He's
else
going
at
to
the
be
moment.
calling you.
Coming to get me.
Yeah.
Hey, mate. It's coming for me. You've been banging on my window. I'm scared.
Bill, fuck.
I said I was sorry. It's a faux pas. You got to do it live. That's the proof that we're doing this live. There's no editing
No.
here. This is just it. Raw metal. Well, what is your first new and one old school pick?
So my first old
For the
school
week.
pick. This comes from the album Final Descent, and this is by the band Samhain. And you know, you hear those people that pronounce it Sam Hain, but this is how Danzig pronounced it, and I actually did some research here, and Samhain is how that would be like the way to pronounce the actual kind of event that this is named after.
I did not know that.
Samhain, but this is Final Descent. It came out in 1990, and so John Christ and Chuck Biscuits and Eerie Von are actually on the first 5 tracks of this, and I would say it's really cool. My track here is Death in Arms, and what Death in Its Arms.
Spooky.
And this is really, it kind of gets lost because the Misfits are so huge, and then Danzig was so huge for a while, and it's like just a really cool, I don't even know what you might label this. Just kind of, it sounds like the precursor to Danzig and still in the Misfits realm to a certain degree, and just really cool. And I guess the main reason that he changed the band name from Samhain to Danzig was just so, if there were changes in lineup, he wouldn't have to change his name again from the Misfits to Samhain to Danzig. He could just be Danzig with whoever was going to join in on the fun.
And those were really hard to find. And when we were, like, when we were in high school, college days, I remember you had to get a box set. Was the only way we could.
Yeah, it
You had to
was.
purchase the box set that had like
It
everything.
was definitely like
that was the only way
an
we could hear it.
unearthing of this thing that's still really hard to find, just because it was pre, major label issues of music with Glenn Danzig, and it was actually put out on his own independent label at first, Plan 9 Records, and then Caroline came in and took it up. But yeah, a really cool collection of tracks for my money, and definitely check it out. Death in Its Arms by Samhain.
My first old school pick for the week is a band called Manowar, and this song is "Blood of the Kings." I remember hearing this for the first time, maybe high school. You got it on CD, and this is the last track on the record. But right before that, there's a story of like an old man telling this little kid the story that leads up to it. And I remember you being very, very sure, but like, you got to listen to the story first and then the song. And I was like, all right. So we sat there and listened to the whole story. And then when it launches into Blood of the Kings, I was like, oh, I get it now. Manowar is just so awesome at writing the epic album closer, and Blood of the Kings is like second to nothing. It's a brutal track, it's super epic, and really encapsulates Manowar So Blood of the
Yeah,
Kings.
so much to go on there. The last album to feature founding member Ross the Boss Friedman, and and
Mm,
also um, amazing cover art by Ken Kelly, and just I would say definitely I would put it as one of their strongest total records
yeah,
in
agreed.
their archive of very heavy and very awesome metal tomes. Just this one just seemed cool when Ross Friedman and Joey DeMaio could work together, because then you got things like Kings of Metal and Hail and Kill and Blood of the Kings. And I do think that's just like a if someone was like
Mm,
play me one Manowar song so I
mm,
can know that you're not
yep.
kidding with this Wimps and Posers Leave the Hall, I would probably pick Blood of Kings, because that's just an epic song.
It's brutal, man. Yeah, brutal. Hell yeah. What is your next pick for the week? This is the new
New
tracks, right?
tracks. I actually on my birthday I got sent a track. I got sent some music by the vocalist from this band, which was really cool, and I want to thank him for that. The band is called Death.
Happy
Oh
birthday, by the way.
yes, thank you. The band is called Death Dealer, and the album is going to be called Conquered Lands, coming out Friday, November 13th. And the track that we're cranking on the playlist is called Sorcerer Supreme. But definitely check
Nice.
this out. There's a lot of really cool stuff that comes out with this album. If you're um, interested, dig into this badass merch. And the band features Ross the Boss, by the way, and Sean Peck, and Stu Marshall, Steve Bolognese, and Mike LaPond from Symphony X, and Sean Peck from Cage. It's just a um, really cool mixture of players making some really epic music. So definitely check it out. Death Dealer, coming out their new album Conquered Lands Friday, November 13th. And this track is called Sorcerer Supreme.
Hell yeah. I will check that out. Sounds rad. Um, my next pick is an old school track. This band is Merciful Fate, and the song is Buried Alive. Uh, this is one of my favorite Merciful Fate songs. One of my favorite King Diamond songs. It's just so catchy. The lyrics are amazing. The production on this record is awesome. This is a later Merciful Fate record, and this it's great. It's a perfect song. I don't know. It's like the chorus. Like it's one of those Merciful Fate songs where they make you wait for the chorus, and then when the chorus gets there, just like it's huge and this layers of vocals. The guitar riffs are always so goddamn catchy and Merciful Fate. So, uh, Buried Alive, one of my favorites. Still,
I
it's a
do
great song.
love, yeah, I love those lyrics. I love King Diamond's delivery. And he's actually working on both New Merciful Fate and New King Diamond right now, which is exciting because
Ugh,
I love both sides. Like the
disgusting.
King Diamond, you're used to it being kind of like a concept
Mm,
album that tells a story. And then Merciful Fate is usually just
progressive.
individual songs that, um, so you kind of get a different style of King Diamond where it's like standalone tracks that blend together in an album format, but with King Diamond, more like a story. So it's like you get the best of both worlds
Mm,
now, with both those being worked on. And yeah, I feel like if ever there's
I'm
two
excited.
people in a struggle of life and death, if you had to have a narrator, King Diamond would be that person to do that for sure. It brings me a
I'm
memory
excited.
of we were at in high school in the 2000s and the early 2000s, and so no one that we went to school with had any idea of the glory of Merciful Fate and King Diamond, and I got the Puppet Master when that came out at the record store, and brought it with me to school. And there was this bonus that was King Diamond telling the story of the Puppet Master. And it's just King Diamond with like black candles burning, like telling, literally reading the story. And we put that on, and everyone was just like, "What the fuck is this?" Like he's in full stage makeup and regalia, black candles burning, telling the tale of the Puppet Master. And I don't know. I guess I live for seeing people's reactions to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's some of the best stuff of being a metalhead is like, look at
Check,
this.
hey
And
guys,
normal
check
people just
this
like,
out. And like some
check this
people are
shit out.
legitimately like
Look at this shit.
creeps. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll weed your friends out pretty quick. They'll see who stays with you. That's some of the best stuff. Good times.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm excited for those new
and
records,
they
man.
find out, if they make it that far, they find out that the puppets are made of humans.
It's the twist. That's a good album
Yes,
too.
I love that
That song
record. I
"Magic" off of
love
that
that
record is
record.
great.
That's top form King Diamond for me.
It is, man. Now I'm going to listen to King Diamond all afternoon.
Yeah.
I've been activated.
Murder.
It's the season for King
Murder, he
Diamond.
screamed. Oh,
This is his
why?
time.
Murder. Murder. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Pretty
My
good
next
stuff.
track um, is this is something really cool. It's like I just keep finding this new stuff that really rips. This is
It's a good
Inter
problem.
Arma, and they are from Richmond, Virginia, and they kind of came from members of a black metal band called Bastard Sapling. But this is really like a really cool blend of influences, because there's definitely some like sludge, some metal, some just southern rock, some black metal. It's like all kind of in there. And then this track comes from, it's actually a an album of other artists' songs, and it's called Garber's Days Revisited. And this track is, I've been just
Good.
cranking it constantly. It's their take on Running Down a Dream by Tom Petty. Really cool. Inter Arma, Running
Snap.
Down a Dream. And yeah, I also noticed in the last couple of days that there was a new Tom Petty song out, "Leave Virginia Alone," which
Mm.
is really cool because it just sounds like, you get some Tom Petty that you haven't heard before. I guess it was literally a song that Rod Stewart had played back then when Tom Petty wrote it first. But definitely love hearing the Tom Petty version. But yeah,
Yeah, there's been some fun treats coming out of the vault that have been fun to
yeah,
get.
and
When you need Tom
this is
Petty this
Inter
year.
Arma with "Running Down a Dream." Check it out. Really, really cool.
Hell yeah. Um, my last of my old school picks is Black Sabbath. They're on here a lot this week. This is a later lineup though. This is from the Eternal Idol album. This song is called "The Shining." Um, Super catchy song. This is more like it's post the first two Dio records with Sabbath. This is late '80s. So it's just a kick-ass song, super catchy. It's one that gets stuck in my head. I don't listen to the Eternal Idol as much as other Sabbath records, but um, this song, if I had to make a list of Sabbath songs crossing all singers, like this 100% would always be on the list. Just super catchy, super Tony Iommi riffage. Um, just love this song. I just get excited when I hear it. It just hypes me up. So Black Sabbath, The Shining.
Yeah,
Cool music
and
video
this is
too.
such a interesting and weird place in time for people that are fans of Iommi and all the different people he worked with, because this
Hmm.
had music written by Tony Iommi. There's lyrics by Bob Daisley and Ray Gillen.
Weird.
And then Ray Gillen did backing vocals. And actually, there was
Oh, Bob Daisley
There was
played
a
bass on it,
a
huh?
disc two of a special edition that has come out that has the Ray Gillen vocals. Um, Ray Gillen, best known for his work with Badlands, but a really cool vocalist. He did some backup vocals for Sabotage, and yeah, so it's like two pretty amazing vocalists that were part of this, and then so many amazing players. Like even when they went on tour, so you had Daisley on the album, Butler, who initially jumped on to tour, and then he wound up
87.
being replaced, and then also on the tour, um, former Clash drummer Terry Chimes wound up on the tour. So there's like all kinds of crazy, awesome dudes that were around Sabbath at that time, working with Tony Iommi, and I guess he always was kind of like not hype on keeping the name Sabbath, but it's kind of like all the different record labels he was working with were like, no, this has got to be Sabbath, and he was kind of stuck in that. But yeah,
Mm. Yeah,
great stuff.
I
Eric
was,
Singer was on drums, and really,
yeah.
really cool. I think that's definitely an overlooked Sabbath record for sure. And there's lots of crazy little things to
Mm.
go down the rabbit hole with that album. Um, there's a song on that album called
Yeah.
Nightmare, and that was going to be I think that was for a Nightmare on Elm Street movie was the plan, and then it just one of those things that fell through. But that was definitely what inspired the song. It was going to be Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh, we never got that
Yeah,
one. Um, yeah, it's one of those records where it's like you see this with a lot of bands, especially in that time period where they've had a name for themselves and the label's like, no, we got to use the name. But I think if this one would have been called like a Tony Iommi record or something, I think it probably would have been held in higher regard or got spoken about more. But it's a good album, definitely one worth revisiting if you guys get to it, and if you tune into the Heavy Radio podcast playlist, it'll be there for you.
yeah.
So
I mean,
definitely
when
dive into that
you
whole
are
record though.
when
There's
you're a
stuff in
band that
there.
has had Ozzy and Dio, any other vocalist is just gonna be compared to those two very unique
Yeah,
vocalists.
that's a
And
tough act to
but I think
follow.
Tony Martin
Yes.
definitely does a bang up job, and so did Ray
Yeah,
Gillen
those
for
are
that
good,
matter.
really
So
really
did
good
Ray
vocals.
Gillen.
Yeah,
Um,
I almost put a song from that album from those years too. So
um, I mean, I also don't think it. I don't think anyone ever could have predicted Black Sabbath having an album cover like this one. It's like a sculpture of two people making the love on top of a
it sure
rock.
is weird album. Weird album cover. I can't defend the album art is weird. I don't get it, but you know, getting creative. What about the album before this? The one that was supposed to be a Tony Iommi solo record, but they also said no, it's Sabbath, and it has "Stranger to
Yes.
Love" and that video with a Doberman running
Yes.
down an alleyway, and
Also
it's Tony
weird.
Iommi walking around the
Also,
city.
yeah, Sabbath took a weird turn.
It was a
Weird.
weird. Let's just say the second half of the
The,
'80s was
the
odd
late
for Black
80s,
Sabbath. Well,
they went to a
second half
weird
was
place
weird,
and they almost never returned. But then they did return, thankfully.
and with
And I would say
Dehumanizer
Headless
swung them
Cross
back, and then
even was definitely way more Sabbath, a Sabbath than the
mm,
other records that didn't have Iommi, and some really cool stuff going on there too. I remember his guitar solo from Brian May on "When Death Calls." So you have Brian May and Iommi joining forces. It's like, it's hard for me to knock Sabbath even with all this weird shit going on. Because then Cozy Pals on drums and fuck yeah, it's like
huh. Yeah.
just I mean any of these blokes together is probably going to be a good time. And their album covers went back to
Yeah,
being
man.
more Black Sabbathy for sure after that one couple weird
Yeah.
ones there.
Then the reunion.
Yes, and the rest is in
The
the
rest is
book of heavy
history for
metal.
us. Damn right.
My next track is from a band called Zeal and Ardor, and the track is called Tuskegee. And these cats are something else. They're originally from Basel, Switzerland, and I think they relocated to New York. It sounds like. Um, I don't even know what. It's one of those great times where there's not a lot of easy way to describe it. If you just had to put it into a few words, um, you're just gonna have to check it out because to me, this
Okay.
is some of the most happening stuff of 2020 that I've heard so far. I can definitely throw it down with that. Definitely check it out and crank it real loud. Zeal and Ardor with Tuskegee.
I will. Hell yeah. My first new track for the week band is called Hell Tripper, and the song is Beyond the Convent Walls. Um, Great riffage on this. Super brutal, like speed attack. Um, yeah, another one that kind of blends genres, so I can't really peg them down to one, but just real kick ass aggressive, some traditional riffage in there. Um, just, yeah, it's one of those, yeah, just turn up to 11, break your windows out.
And it
So
says Hell Tripper,
they're
all one
definitely,
word.
yep. Yeah, they got
What's
my
the track
attention
called?
for new releases because it is Beyond the Convent Walls.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure if it was the band that I remember digging up. Because I think the band that I remember was from Russia. Do you know where these cats are from?
Let's see, not offhand. We're doing research. Oh, my bad. Hell Ripper. There's no
Hell
T.
Ripper.
That's why. My I can't read today. I apologize to
That's a pretty
everybody.
gnarly
Let's see, a
album
Hell
cover, that's
Ripper.
for sure. I think you got
Right?
Black you got
That's
Black
pretty
Phillip there in
Halloween.
the background.
Hell Ripper. Yes, I apologize to the band Hell Ripper. Beyond the Convent Walls, and yes, that album art is a standout on its own. We got some like late '70s witch horror kind of vibe going. Um,
Black Phillip.
Great stuff though.
Black Phillip.
Gotta live
Black Phillip.
deliciously.
Yeah, just speaking of that, reminding
Gets
me those
stabbed in the
kids from
stomach.
that movie are pretty freaky.
Oh man, I've been watching The Haunting of Bly Manor this weekend, and if you like scary children,
This is
I'll leave it at
it's
that
right in your
for both
wheelhouse.
movies. Yeah,
My
The Witch is a
my
good movie.
last track for the week is another brand new track, and it's this is just like a lot of really cool new music, and this one comes from Fate's Warning. This is their comes off their upcoming studio album due to be released November 6th, 2020. And this track is called Long Day, Good Night. And um, actually, the track is called Scars, and the album is called Long Day, Good Night. Um, Coming out on the Metal
Word.
Blade Records. And so they have a long history
Yeah.
there with Metal Blade. And this is really, to me, one of just a really strong record from everything that I've heard. So check it out with Scars, and yeah, just a really really cool band that has had a really cool history with Metal Blade Records, and and actually, if you might recall, like here we go, we can't even get through an episode without multiple Keanu Reeves references, but they had a
It
track
happens. I
on
welcome
the
him.
Rivers on Keanu's movie River's Edge from 1986, um,
Mhm.
and
I won't quote
we
anything from
always
that movie that
say
makes me
that.
laugh
But
every
yeah,
time.
Captor of Sin was on there from Slayer, Tormentor. There's actually a bunch of Slayer on there, which makes sense. And um, Hollow's Eve, Agent Orange. It was like the first time there was really like just a full on heavy metal soundtrack. Um, I guess now that I think about it, not to get too morbid, but there is a podcast that I love called Morbid, um, where it's these two gals that talk about
Hmm.
like murders that have happened, and they mentioned that there was one that was actually partially the inspiration for the movie Jennifer's Body, and I guess Slayer actually wound
Okay.
up in a lawsuit. I think it was the lyrics to Necrophobic, maybe. Um, some Slayer song where they're talking about killing and desecrating a corpse and whatever. Um, but it was a really good take on why
That's
even
Slayer
though
shit.
Slayer, I mean, I think this is like it's a case where the justice system worked somehow, where they basically noted that obviously Slayer is not really um, advocating for or going and desecrating corpses and killing people. If they were, they would be in
Hmm.
jail, and it's a dark and twisted art, but yeah. So that
My King Diamond was
I think
happy
they
about that
didn't they
stuff.
didn't
He
talk
got out
they
of
didn't talk
dodge that
about
one.
this movie, which actually has like that's the topic of the movie. So that was kind of interesting. I just thought of that randomly, but yeah, there's some great Keanu action, and what's that other dude's name? The guy that's in Back to the Future also with the really funny voice. Um, what is that? What's his
I was
name?
like, we better not be talking
Crispin
about
Glover.
Mr.
Crispin
Koopa again.
Glover.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really whiny in this movie, and yeah, Dennis Hopper, of course. But
Oh, we had our discussion about Dennis Hopper. Never again. There'll be no more talking
I'm
about Super
sure,
Mario
well,
Brothers
I'm
movie.
sure it'll happen again. It will happen again.
I'm sure of it too, and that's why I'm scared. I'm trying to prevent it. Damn you, Dennis Hopper. Damn Mario movie. Um, my last track for the week, my last new track is a band called R.I.P. This song is One Foot in the Grave. Um, these cats really caught my attention um, this year, and this song is right one of the reasons why One Foot in the Grave. It's like I'm trying to put it into genre, trying to think. It's very like DIY kind of production sounding. It's very punk, but also like old school metal. It's kind of like somewhere in between. It's like you can tell they're fans of both because it's real like fuck it, we're just gonna plug in and play. Let's do this. Like the production's real raw and punk rock, but the influences are definitely old school metal. The songs are super catchy. Uh, just real punchy songs. Definitely check them out. I don't know a lot of other bands that have quite this vibe going right now, so definitely check out RIP. This new album is, from what I've heard, a step up from their last one, and um, I love punk rock too, and bands that kind of walk between those genres always get my attention. I love that stuff, so definitely go check these guys out. Check out the whole album actually, because I really like what they're building.
Yeah, awesome.
R.I.P. And the album cover is very scary, like Wicked and Halloween and and Creep Factor. So you gotta love that. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming out this year, man. Just despite the everything else, this year has a lot of music coming out, a lot of metal music, and I'm sure more to come um, as all this craziness
Yeah,
happens. So yeah, a lot of good stuff to listen to as we
yeah.
get through it.
Since it came up, I really do want to get a little bit into River's Edge because I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, damn it!
I'm
I said
still
no more
thinking about
Hopper.
it, and I guess eventually,
Glazed donut.
uh, for the part effect, the director originally wanted John Lithgow, and so it would have been John
Leguizamo.
Lithgow for that role that Dennis Hopper originally played. And if you could
Now
imagine
there's a
John
movie.
Lithgow saying some of those lines, I think that would also be
Now there's a
creepy.
movie.
I mean, almost any old dude saying those
Yes.
things would be creepy, but John Lithgow, that
Mm.
I don't. Did you ever see? What he was in something grotesque? Was it? What was that show? Um,
He
Dexter,
was in
where he was
Dexter.
creeping.
Yeah, he was
Yes,
fucked up. He was fucked
yes,
up in Dexter. That shit haunted my fucking
yes,
nightmares. What a
yes.
fucking
It's a
crazy.
long
Yeah.
time
Woo.
coming from there between the John Lithgow children's concert special. Um, that's the
Yeah.
diversity of John Lithgow
Shit.
and the
I
sci-fi
think those.
sitcom John
Yeah.
Lithgow.
Yeah. Third
Um,
Rock from the Sun magic. Yeah. I think it's those. It's those funny people, man. Those comedians can do like if you can do the funny, it seems they can do like the creepy like
and I
real
guess
quick.
in
So
River's Edge, Corey Haim
yeah.
was originally going to be in the part of Tim, but he got replaced after having pneumonia right before filming started. And yeah,
What a blessing. Damn Dennis Hopper. You have to work
and
with Dennis Hopper.
yeah, I think it's interesting to have an album or a record that is it's got all kinds of metal and punk and even some reggae and definitely check out the
Give him some reggae.
soundtrack if nothing else and one of Keanu Reeves' first really big movies, so um, check it
Hmm.
out. There's a lot of interesting stuff to dig into there, and yeah, it's been a hell of a heavy radio 16.
It has. Thank you for everyone to listening and tuning in, and yeah, thank you for everyone that's been rocking with us. We continue to rock and roll on and bring you the metal tunes and news. Definitely make sure to check out the Heavy Radio Podcast playlist on Spotify as well as the playlist on our YouTube episodes. Also, while you're out there listening to us, if you could drop a review that helps us out on the podcast program. So if you can on the apps, so if you want to drop a review real quick, we'd super appreciate it, and we'd love to support out there and follow us on social media. Say hey if you want to, and
And
yeah,
one, yeah,
thank you for
one thing I got
everything.
to say, I love. We went from having Pat Carr, a school teacher who loves metal, to one of my just all-time favorites, William Elliott Whitmore. It was just an amazing thing. I love that we kind of just cross those realms of the working dude that is there teaching our youth that loves heavy metal, and then amazing singer and songwriter. And you never know what you're going to get next here on Heavy Radio. So definitely tell.
Never do.
I love to live by the Batman model of advertising. Tell your friends about us, and yeah, do it that way. That way
Worked
is
for him.
that's how you grow and have an organic, awesome show with no fucking rules and no censors. We all talk about whatever we want to talk about, and that's the way heavy radio should be. Again, a shout out to Amadeo Rossi, thinking of you, and thanks for the hard work with the Vaudeville Muse. And also, thank you, Sean Peck and Ross Friedman, for this new track from Death Dealer, Sorcerer Supreme. Crank it, play it loud. We will see you soon.